My name is David. Hopefully, through this video I can help you on your way regarding the world of impact. I'm an impact researcher working for Impact Center Erasmus. I personally live in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Impact Center Erasmus is a research center and part of the Erasmus University Rotterdam. We conduct research and educate students and professionals about impact thinking, impact measurement, and impact management. We want to bring scientific knowledge and expertise into practice and, again, bring practice back into academic to deepen knowledge. Part of my job as a impact researcher for the Impact Center Erasmus is doing research for organizations and different institutions. With my colleagues, I'm currently researching a citizen service program in the Netherlands, which is called MDT. It has quite some similarities actually with the European Solidarity Corps. And we are working on the question for this program: what's the impact of MDT? This program is for all young people in the Netherlands between 12 and 30 years old. The focus of the program is on volunteering, talent development, and encountering people they wouldn't normally encounter. Projects are organized all around the Netherlands, and the projects also are very diverse because they want to accommodate a very large target group, namely all youth in the country. Let me give a small example of this diversity. In one project, young people are doing a variety of volunteering for different organizations. This way they can experience different types of volunteering and discover what suits them best. In another project, maybe not far away in the same city, young people receive all kinds of training to improve certain skills. With these skills, they ultimately organize an event for the neighborhood, in which residents of the neighborhood can meet each other. In the midst of this diverse program, we try to get a grasp on the impact, and I want to share some lessons about how we handle this. Before I dive into the contents, let me give you a small overview of what's ahead of you in the coming minutes. Often, when I ask people about impact, they start discussing impact measurement. Yet, we at the Impact Center Erasmus, before we start talking and working on impact measurement, we usually introduce the concept of impact thinking. And that's what I'll do in this video as well. After that, I will also touch on impact measurement again. And lastly, I want to talk about impact management. For all these three themes, I will give you some practical tips on how to get going. First of all then, impact thinking. Impact thinking is all about the fact if you can answer the question in a way also that your mother or grandmother would understand it. The question is as follows: why do you do what you do, and what do you think you will achieve with what you're doing? The answer to this question for most of you can feel almost like an insult. Of course you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. To increase maybe social cohesion, or to combat inequality, to lessen loneliness, or to lessen polarization in the society. These are often very abstract and long-term desired outcomes. And also, this doesn't make explicit how your program or activities lead to those kind of outcomes. Therefore, it's important to start impact thinking. Whilst impact thinking, you make the connection between what you're doing on the one hand and what you want to achieve, what your desired impact is on the other hand. We often use this cartoon to show the problem. On the left you see a difficult math problem, and on the right you see a flawless solution. But in the middle there stands, and then a miracle occurs. And that's what often happens. Projects have great activities, they're organizing all kinds of nice events, etc. And on the other hand, they have great desired outcomes. They want to improve social cohesion, for example. But it's not clear then how these activities lead to this ultimate end goal. And that's important. That's the part of why impact thinking is important. Let me give you some practical tips on how to do this. First of all, it's about the mindset. Sometimes people have a mentality of, I know our project works. We, as Impact Center Erasmus, are often the other person in this cartoon. In this phase of impact thinking, it's important to be critical on your own project. Don't be negative, but be critical. Think about, why do things work? Often we see projects who have great ambitions, but it's not clear how their activities add up to these ambitions. So look at your project with a critical mindset. Secondly, make your impact goal or your desired impact practical. It has to be ambitious at the one hand, but also realistic. That's something you will really have to play with. Next to that, it's very important to think this through beforehand instead of immediately going into measurements. Measurement opportunities are endless. By first thinking it through, you know better what's important to measure then. Lastly, if you have a very extensive program, please then start small. Start with maybe one element of your program and make a logical and easy to follow impact story. In this story, you can specify how your activities lead to your impact goal. Then to impact measurement. Important to keep in mind or to understand is that you should only measure what's relevant for your impact story. It's quite similar with the last point I made with impact thinking. You shouldn't measure too much. That's often a trap. There are so many interesting possible effects that you could measure. But stick to the focus you got through impact thinking and keep yourself from drowning in data and in all kinds of activities. Next to that, research and management are regularly carried out with the goal to prove to financiers. This usually isn't fun, nor does it help you understand how you can improve your community impact. Therefore, we like to focus on research and measuring to improve instead of to prove. When you carry out research to improve, your research becomes much more relevant because your project benefits from it. When you're researching with the goal to improve, you usually can also use these outcomes to prove, but never the other way around. Thirdly, measuring isn't solely quantitative. We often see people running towards questionnaires when we start talking about impact, but there are so many different qualitative methods. You could use existing research about the impact you desire. There's so much research already being done. Or you can use evaluation conversations to ask about certain effects the program has had. So keep in mind, often you can easily use planned contact moments for research. Lastly, I want to mention, measure the things you have control or influence over. You can see in this graph I just put up that there are different levels, and it's important to know that, of course, you want to contribute to social cohesion, to reducing poverty, etc. But measuring these types of outcomes takes a lot of diligence, research skills. You need a good control group, you need time, you need money, and often these things, smaller community programs don't have access to them. So then stick to what you have more direct influence or control over and measure those things. And maybe you can collaborate with knowledge institutions for the rest. The last part of this small talk, I want to talk about impact management. We have this mantra which we use quite often. It's fall in love with the impact, not the activities. Managing your impact and steering based on the results of impact measurement or impact thinking sometimes implies making rough decisions. You maybe have to stop certain activity because it doesn't lead to your desired outcome. Whilst managing impact, you also have to be willing, and that's connected to what I just said, to kill your darlings. It can happen that you have this beautiful activity which you're really enthusiastic about, but it doesn't yield good results regarding your desired impact. Next to that, it's important in this phase of impact management to create a constant learning loop, so you can make realistic promises about the impact you can create and how you will create it. This learning and steering on impact will avoid making unrealistic impact claims to funders that you cannot attain. And in this phase, you will also learn from new insights. These insights then lead back to learning and improving your program. Lastly, impact isn't a one-time activity. It's a process. It's about management, and managing, that's a verb. It's important to make impact and the information you gather about your impact part of your decision making. I want to end on this, that there are multiple tools available which can help you with getting a better grasp of your impact and managing your impact in a good way. And also there is so much scientific research already done on much of the long-term effects you probably want to achieve. On this page that's now on the screen, you can scan QR codes to two materials, the first two QR codes, and to our website as well for more information and maybe contact details. I want to thank you for your attention. I hope I inspired you to take steps in, first of all, impact thinking, impact measurement, and impact management.